But I just got to know one thing. Are you ready? I said, are you?
All right, guys. Hey, what is going on? Welcome to the second episode of Are You Ready for a Good Time with Dirty Dan? I am Dirty Dan, and I am going to be reviewing Friday Night Smackdown from July 2nd, 2021. I did not actually watch this live. Believe it or not, I actually went out to celebrate a friend's birthday. It's the first time I've actually been out to like an event like at like a bar. Like I don't drink really too much. Like I drink like maybe one beer, but like and it's like in one beer like every 6 months. But it's like I went to like a bar and like we just basically celebrated with a bunch of other people. You know, had some food and whatnot, and it's been the first time since I've done that, probably in over a year. Actually, yeah, probably in over a year. And even then, like, you know, when things were opening up a little bit more a few months ago, I still wasn't ready for it myself, just because of some physical issues that I have going on. But anyway, regardless, this is just, a recap of WWE Smackdown for Friday night, July 2nd, 2021. And yeah, the show wasn't that bad. I watched it on a replay that I recorded. I DVR'd it basically. I did watch it on a replay. So we do. So let's get right to it because I'll tell you what I liked and didn't like on this show, because there was a little bit of a I didn't really like this on the show, and I really want to just touch base on that really quick. So we do basically start off with a recap of the Roman Reigns Edge thing from last week, where Edge came out and basically attacked Roman Reigns and basically demanded his one-on-one match. So he does come out and he cuts a great promo about, you know, how he's worked so hard, to have that comeback in 10 years and to win the championship after 10 years, wins the Royal Rumble. And, he says something along the lines of, man, winning that championship at WrestleMania, 10 years to the day, what good story would that have told? And he is right. I mean, it's really good. He's basically saying he would have made a hell of a story at that point. And then he just goes on and he shows like a image of Roman Reigns basically ready to tap out from his crossface with the pin in the mouth. And then and he just touches base about a little bit about Jey Uso getting involved, and that cost him the match as well. So, it's kind of an interesting scenario. But he says like along the lines that he knows he can beat Roman one-on-one, and that was his proof right there. But yeah, he just basically says he spent his entire career knocking down obstacles, which I thought was a great line for him, because as we know, he's had so much going on with him. So that is good. I think that's awesome. I thought that was a great promo. It started off the show pretty good. Some people didn't like the promo. They said that it wasn't the strongest promo, and I agree, it wasn't the strongest promo, but I think it's a promo that made a lot of sense. I know a lot of people are not invested in Roman versus Edge because who cares about Edge now at this point, because he did lose. But I think give him that one more match, just to see what it's like. And I know this is where this is going. This is apparently leading to a program between Edge and Seth Rollins, because Seth Rollins will eventually interfere in that match, because he's at this point, and you'll see it later on in the show. But he's at this point, he demanded a universal title match, and right now he hasn't gotten it. They told him to take it into consideration. Okay. So then we go, we cut the Roman's locker room with Heyman watching Edge's promo, and Jimmy comes up and he's like, did you see what he said? Did you see what he said? And, he doesn't like what he said about a Roman, and he's going to put Edge down and, basically plant their family flag in his heart, which, and Heyman doesn't really say anything. So the difference that I like, I don't like here. What the difference between here is something I don't like is the fact that Jimmy's kind of like more vocal, where Jay wasn't as vocal. I thought that Jay was kind of like, being the obedient child, and now you have Jimmy in here taking Jay's spot, being the mischievous one, which I kind of like. I don't know. It's kind of strange. And now Jay's just, he's basically disappeared. We don't know. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if he's taking a break, if he got injured, talk about crap timing, or if they're just putting this in storyline and he's going to come back. We'll see what happens. Anyway, so we go on. Next thing is back to the ring. You got Rick Boogs here. He introduces King Shinsuke Nakamura. Rick Boogs has an awesome entrance. For Shinsuke, and Shinsuke's new gear is all white. This is gonna fly over with the live crowd in a couple of weeks so well. I can see it already. I think the live crowd's gonna love this, and I think it's gonna give Shinsuke a huge push right now. And even though he's king right now, I think it's gonna go a long way. So yeah, I mean, Pat McAfee loves Shinsuke. You can just tell it's awesome. So he's always like, he's always like on top of the table whenever Shinsuke comes out. So Pat McAfee's like again doing that fan thing as a commentator. But they recap the last couple of weeks with Corbin. Big E comes out, and I'm thinking we're getting a Shinsuke versus Big E match, and then it's announced that he's his tag team partner. And I'm like, all right, that's cool. So they do this sort of like weird handshake, whatever. And then they team up, and it's Apollo and Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin comes out looking like a bum basically at this point, and it was basically like he didn't shave and his beard, and he's letting his hair grow out a little bit. So he's looking like more of a bum, like he's going broke. He had a little promo about before that, saying along the lines of how much he's lost a lot of money off of this. He had this investment, and now he's not. Now he's basically broke at this point in time. I thought it was interesting twist for Baron Corbin. They come out and they started introducing him as King Corbin, and they were like King Corbin, and like, oh no, sorry, wait a minute, Baron Corbin. And so I thought that was kind of a little interesting twist. The match in itself, I don't know. I mean, I'm getting sick and tired of Apollo and Big E going at it. I just think that needs to end and go away. I honestly would have rather seen Big E versus Nakamura. I know it's face versus face, but hey, that would have been kind of cool. Like, that wouldn't have been a bad thing. Okay, Nakamura, he's supposed to be a face now. Big E's supposed to be a face, but why not just have them face off against each other? Like, even if it was like I don't want to say a Money in the Bank qualifying match, because we know Big E already qualified, but they could have made that into one. Anyway, regardless, I thought it was an okay match. The match did end basically along the lines of Rick Boogs on the mic, and he announces that Baron Corbin's car is being towed away, and they cut to that, and then he and funny, Pat McAfee is like, oh, that's a $270,000 vehicle being towed away, and I'm looking at the car, I'm like, I don't think that's $270,000. That car, if you're lucky, you might be 70,000, but I'm just shaking my head. I'm like, wow, what a weird comment. I guess they're trying to put out the fact that Corbin was rich at some point, and now his car is being repossessed. I think that's where they're going to. And then Corbin looks at that and he gets a little upset. His car is being towed away. And the next thing that happens is Big E basically gets the big ending on Corbin, and Big E and Nakamura win the match. So it was really more of an angle than the match in itself. It just wasn't that interesting of a match. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it just wasn't that interesting of a match. I just think it was more of the angle that put this there. We go to Bailey going into the ring. I'm actually very surprised they didn't do a ding dong hello here with Bailey coming into the ring and wanting to, because it was supposed to be face to face with Bianca Belair, but maybe they could have had like a ding dong hello instead with Bailey going, interviewing Bianca Belair, just to set it up a little bit more of a trap. But I thought this, I don't know. Bianca Belair is just, she's not doing it for me. like she was the last match that I saw, she was good. A good match was good. So I mean, wrestling wise, she's improved a lot. There are times that I just thought she wasn't good in the ring, but now I'm watching and she's gotten better. But promo wise, I don't know. The last time she had a promo was okay, but the time before that, I thought it wasn't that great. And this time I didn't think it was that great either. I just thought it was kind of a generic promo when she came out, basically saying, along the lines of, "Oh, Bailey, I'm in your head." But before she even said that, I think that Bailey led her into it. So I think Bailey's kind of like leading her into her promos a little bit more, to try to help Bianca remember what to say. Because Bailey's like, "Oh, I know, I get it. I'm in your head." And then she goes, "You're right, you are in my head," and this and that and that. And she goes on about why she's in her head. And and then she says that she's willing to get her out of her head, and to do so, she needs to have a I quit match. Now I don't know. See, it's an I quit match, but I don't know if they weren't quite clear about this. Because it made it sound like to me they were, maybe I missed it, maybe I didn't understand it, but it made it sound like to me that they said, if Belair can make Bailey quit, she'd quit SmackDown. But I don't, or WWE in any kind of competition. But I don't think that was clear, because I think that's what Bailey said and not Bianca. So I have to go back. Actually, I'm not going to even go back on it, because an I quit match is an I quit match. I don't think it's going to be anything about Bailey quitting SmackDown or WWE. But I don't know. It's kind of weird. I think that was Bailey that said that, actually. And then and then she's kind of like, she says something along the lines, but she kind of hints to it, but I don't think she's going to do that. I don't know. It's the promo just seemed a little odd to me. And I'm hoping that this program ends and we can move on to another challenger for Bianca Belair after this, because I'm thinking that they need to do something for SummerSlam for her to make it a little bit bigger. I don't know what her next opponent would be at SummerSlam. Would we see a returning Sasha Banks? That's a possibility. Could we see, Becky Lynch show up on SmackDown? That's another possibility too. That would be kind of cool. But I don't know what they're going to do yet. No. So I kind of didn't like this promo, but it's just a personal opinion of mine. We do go in the back, and Jimmy Uso comes into the locker room with Paul Heyman pacing in there. Roman's not there yet, but Jimmy wanted to challenge Edge to the main event tonight, and he says he's going to do that later on tonight. Heyman really doesn't say much, so it's like Heyman just kind of doesn't say anything, which I thought was really, really odd. Like, for him not to talk a lot. I don't know. It's just not Heyman. So it was like, I don't know where to go with this. I really don't. But we go to a last man standing match for the Money in the Bank qualifier match. It's against Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. It did start out a little slow. The one thing I kind of didn't like is, like, every time I turned my head and then went to look at the TV, it seemed like somebody was always knocked down for the count. So it was too many knockdowns, but the match in itself was really great. I thought they gave these guys a lot of good time. I was afraid they were going to make it like a 5 to 8 minute I quit match. And I think they gave them almost a good 20 minutes or maybe 15, 20 minutes, which is exactly what I really wanted to see. These guys really, really put on a good match altogether. And, it's really something that these guys mesh well together. I'm not surprised that Kevin Owens got the win. I actually thought he was going to win. I don't think he's going to win a Money in the Bank ladder match. I'd be surprised if he does. There was a lot of commercial breaks in between, but it was good pacing. I thought it was good pacing. Other than the constant knockdowns early on, I thought it was pretty good. It was what I expected. If they gave Sami Zayn the win, that would have been like really, really surprising to me. And I really thought they were going to try to go that way. But I guess they want to load up the Money in the Bank because, you start putting Sami Zayn in there. Sami Zayn, while he is, pretty well known, he doesn't win a lot. He barely wins. And so it just makes sense to put another star in there because right now you have some guys that really fall into a mid-card status at this point in the match, with like Ricochet and John Morrison in there. So you really don't want another one in there, like a mid card guy. I'm waiting for them to put an NXT guy in there because I think I don't know if I don't know if they can get one more. I don't know if it's 6 or 7 guys. But either that or waiting for them to like throw a Randy Orton in there. I have no idea what they're gonna do. Well, let's see what happens on there. Edge gets caught in the back from Megan, the new backstage announcer back there. He basically says, I know, they say Roman's not here, but I know this is a trap. I'm the ultimate opportunist. I know this is a trap. They can't pull one over on me. It's just I'm expecting a beat down, when I get out there. And he's like, you know what? I don't care. He's like, I basically don't care. So that was kind of cool. So I like that one. Sonya Deville now comes out for basically announcement. She's going to announce the next Money in the Bank participant for the women. Let me get through this because right before she does that, they go to Baron Corbin walking the back, and Rick Boogs basically comes up and starts making fun of him about he starts saying like, oh, we're having chicken a la king, and he's like, what does he say? He says he's sleeping in his king size bed, and then he's playing chess with chess or checkers. I forgot what chess I think it was. And he's playing chess with Nakamura, and he just says "King me," and I was like, man. And Corbin's like, you think it's funny? He's like, you know what? Screw you, man. And then he just like walks away. I don't know, that was a little odd segment too, but I guess it's kind of like maybe it's ending it. Maybe that's just kind of like ending the Baron Corbin thing, and they're gonna do something with him. Give him a little push later on, kind of like downplay Corbin and put him into a big loss, and like really put him down a lot before they like push him hard, which is fine. I'd be okay with that. All right, so we go to commercial. We come back for commercial break. Sonya Deville comes out, and she announces, of all people, Zelina Vega to be the Money in the Bank qualifying match. Now, for those that don't know, Zelina did this Zelina. I call her Selena, but it's Zelina. Sorry for that. I don't know why. Zelina, she was, I think she quit, or like I forgot she quit or got let go out of a contract. I don't remember which one it was. It was earlier this year, and then I guess she re-signed. They brought her back. I mean, I knew they were pretty high on her at first because of her past history about 9/11, losing her father, and I'm pretty sure. But then I think she had a kind of like a meltdown on Twitter or something about some of the, I guess the way I think some sort of union representation or something like that. I totally forgot the whole story, and I'm not going to go back into it. But I guess they let her go right after that. Like they were kind of upset with her. And then they brought her back, and for those that know, in in outside of TV, she was apparently I don't know if she's married or engaged to Aleister Black, but she's or just dating him. I forgot what it was, but she was with him, and they re-signed her, and then like literally like a week or two later, they let Aleister Black go, like right when they were starting to give him like a push. So now she's back though, and and I don't like the fact that they just threw her into the Money in the Bank match, because first of all, she hasn't like wrestled all year round, or she did, maybe it was like one match, and then she hasn't been around for months too at this point. So it's like nobody really cares like if she's being put into there. Like I honestly, if they would have brought her back, what I would have done is had her be put into some sort of qualifying match, right? And sure enough, Liv Morgan comes out and makes that same point about why does she deserve to be in there? She hasn't wrestled all year, and so on and so on, like the same kind of things that they did. And she goes like, she's like, I should be in there, and then she goes, and I could beat Zelina, and then she goes on and she says, let me, Sonya, let me prove it, and then let me have a match with Zelina, and sure enough, she did, and Liv Morgan won. The way I would have went with this is I would have had Sonya Deville come back and says, just say, we're gonna have a qualifying match tonight, and if Liv Morgan can win, she'll go into the Money in the Bank. But if her opponent wins, she'll go into the Money in the Bank. And I would have had her Zelina Vega be more of a surprise for Liv Morgan, because it would have been like Liv Morgan might have came out first, and we would have seen like the surprise reaction from Liv Morgan. Instead, we got the other thing around, and Liv did win, which is good. I don't know. I don't like this because it's kind of leading into Liv Morgan's eventually going to be thrown into the match, except, they're going to keep giving her wins until she gets thrown into the match. Why not just throw her into the match anyway? I'm expecting two things to happen here. I'm expecting Liv Morgan to not even be put into the match, which is going to get a lot of fans aggravated with WWE. And if that's the case, I hope they at least do is like push her towards the title, which would be really nice, and really push her to the title and let her hold it for a while, not just let her be like a transitional champ for somebody with the Money in the Bank contract. Or the other thing I'm expecting is the next week when Liv Morgan comes out again. Before she comes out, what I'm expecting is for them to come around and because they don't really have a lot of people to announce left in the Money in the Bank women's match. Maybe it comes around and Sonya Deville announces herself as a participant as a return into the ring. I think that would be kind of cool if they do that. I'd be okay with that. And then the following week, right in front of live fans, they do something with Liv Morgan to get her into the match, which would be really nice. The match in itself wasn't that great. It was just basically, a couple of quick moves, which weren't that good. Zelina's not necessarily the best in the ring. But she looked better than she did last time. But I just saw a couple kicks from her, and that's really it. Kind of like a running knee strike, and then she does like a roll up, but she grabs the tights, and then she gets caught. And then Liv reverses the roll up, and then puts and pins Zelina Vega with the same exact move, grabbing the tights. So it wasn't that great of a match to begin with. I'm happy Liv won, but if they keep having Liv win, they better be putting her in the Money in the Bank, because it just makes sense. Whether or not she wins the Money in the Bank contract, I don't know. So I don't know. It was kind of eh. All right, then we go back to the back. Seth Rollins comes up to Adam Pearce and Sonya Deville, basically, reminds him who he is, because he introduces himself, and they're like, no, Seth, we know who you are. And they're like, oh, I thought you maybe forgot about me because, last week I asked you guys, can you put me into the Universal title match? And you guys said that you would. And they're like, no, we said we take it into consideration. And we considered it, and Edge was the better choice, basically, is what they said, because of his history and how he didn't get a one-on-one match. And then they come back to Rollins and they say, however, if you want, here's what we're going to do. We're going to put you into a qualifying match next week for the Money in the Bank ladder match, and you'll be facing off against Cesaro. And Rollins gets a little aggravated, but then kind of laughs and walks away. That was okay. I like that segment. It kind of puts Rollins in there. I'm actually not expecting Rollins to get into the match. Believe it or not, I'm expecting Cesaro to get into the match, which is probably the way they're going to be going. Anyway, we go back to the ring, and we're going to a match between Otis and Dawkins, and Otis just dominated Angela Dawkins. Like I love this. I love this. Because it's going to give Alpha Academy a huge push, and I hope they win the tag titles. One comment that I'm going to make here is that I felt that this should have been the Otis we saw after he won the Money in the Bank ladder match last year, instead of this goofy gyrating, guy in the ring that was strong, but he wasn't taken seriously for me, and they put him into goofy skits as well. I didn't like that, and now we're getting this serious monster Otis that's unstoppable, and I love it. I absolutely love this. This is great. And he squashed Dawkins, which is even better. There's without a doubt, this is Alpha Academy needs to win those tag team titles. Otis will definitely not be put into Money in the Bank ladder match, but that's okay. Maybe, if they would have done this last year, maybe I would have considered the fact that he probably could have won the Universal title. Maybe he could have taken it off of Roman or something, right? Maybe it wouldn't have been too believable, but it would have been cool. So it's just something really, really would have been something that I like with this, because it's such a big change for Otis, and it's such a much needed desired change. And, it's great. They're doing the right thing with Otis right now, and I love it. And it's just, this kind of was like a highlight of the show to me, at least. I thought this was a highlight of the show. Some simple stupid squash was such a highlight of the show for me. Um, anyway, we go back up. Heyman's pacing in the back. Jimmy goes out. He's ready to call out Edge at this point for the main event. He wants to be main event Jimmy Uso. He tells Heyman this, and he says he'll come out and call Edge out at the commercial break. We do get 2 matches announced for next week. I love both these matches. We already know Cesaro and Seth Rollins going in the Money in the Bank qualifying match. And we also got Shinsuke Nakamura versus Corbin in the Money in the Bank qualifying match. This is good. Shinsuke versus Corbin is going to go 2 ways. Corbin's going to win, and then he's going to go on a monster push with the Money in the Bank, which would be awesome. Or Shinsuke is going to win. We'll lose the Money in the Bank, ladder match anyway. However, it's going to put Corbin down even further until he starts like coming back around at some point. I'm actually expecting Shinsuke to win. I really am. So we'll see what happens. I think Cesaro and Shinsuke are both going to win. I'd be very surprised if neither of those 2 guys win, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. That's my prediction for now, but we'll see. Anyway, Jimmy's out there on the mic. He wants Edge. He says Edge right there. He reminds Edge Roman's not here. He tells Edge this isn't a trap. This isn't a trap. Come out. He calls him out, and finally Edge shows up, and he says, and this was great. I love this little ending part. He asked Jimmy if he thinks he's smart because Roman is waiting in the wings. And he says, Roman's just using Jimmy just like you used Jay, and until Jay broke, and then which is really cool. And then he asked what happened to Jimmy's backbone, and what happened to nobody's bitch is what he said. And Edge puts a comment there that I loved. He basically says, what you don't realize is that Roman laid out the perfect trap, but it's not a trap for me. It's for you. And then he comes in the ring and just beats down Jimmy. I thought that was awesome. And then we ended with the crossface. I don't want to call it a crippler crossface, but it basically was with the with the pipe or whatever it was in the mouth. And that was such a great ending. I love that. And then we just see the look in Edge's eyes with the crossface, with the chair piece on there. Sorry, not pipe, but chair piece. And then he, Edge is yelling out that he's gonna, knock Roman's shiny teeth down his throat as Jimmy's tapping out. And then we close it out basically at that point. So this was a pretty good SmackDown. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. It could have been a 7, to be honest with you. But I gave it a 6.5 because there were a couple things I just did not like. And had they changed it up just a little bit, it's probably a 7 out of 10 show, maybe even a little bit more than that. But yeah, so there's my review. I hope you guys enjoy my reviews here. I'll be posting this on a Nerd Culture podcast. And I'll keep doing these every Monday and Friday or whatever I do get to watch. I typically watch this on Monday. Actually, Monday is a good day to be doing a podcast. So I'll let you guys know when they're posted. And so hope you guys had a good time here with me, Dirty Dan. And until the next one, peace out, everybody. Later.